can understand how profound the silence is and how it really takes not only myself, but probably all of you to a really deep place inside yourself. I mean, silence really gives birth to the Om sound. And when we tap that kind of inner silence, it takes us to a really deep, deep place inside. And the whole purpose, as I say all the time, is to use this Shakti, this energy, to develop a chakra system. Because without a highly developed chakra system, the universe, I mean, it's just too much. It's too strong, it's too powerful. And it really just flows, it's like sitting in front of a river and watching water just flow past a rock, a boulder in the middle of the river. So we need to, break up that boulder inside ourselves and use the energy of that kind of death and rebirth to develop the chakra system. That gives us the strength to be able to absorb energy of a higher nature. It's not energy that you can superimpose and, it's not like butter on a piece of bread, it's so powerful, it's so strong and deep that it takes one to areas in the unconscious, that are, beyond human comprehension. And the silence is so much a part of it. Because in the silence, we allow that energy to come into us and develop a system inside that is strong enough to embrace. So like I've said many times, there are three elements to this meditation. Each and every one of them is very, very strong. First element is spirit. Spirit is infinite. It's beyond anything the human mind or any of us can comprehend. I always say it, I'll say it again, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna reveals himself, it's as if the light of 1,000 suns suddenly appeared in the sky. That's the power of higher energy in the universe. In order to absorb that energy, we need a chakra system that is strong enough to do it. Otherwise, it just it goes right past us, or it can literally burn a person up. It is so powerful. So we have to commensurate. We have to build a system. That is our job here on the earth, to build an inner life that is strong enough to be able to absorb energy of a higher nature. The second element is life itself, which, as we all know, is a very powerful energy. Maya is really strong. And, it really sweeps people away like a gigantic vacuum cleaner that sucks their energy right out of them. And in order to have the strength to be able to deal with life, to deal with our karma, to deal with all the situations that manifest in this world of Maya, to have the capacity to be able to transform these situations into some kind of reality that helps us to get closer to God. We need to be very strong inside. And the third element is Kundalini. Kundalini is, a very powerful energy force. It's the pathway to enlightenment. And if we don't have a system inside that is strong enough to be able to activate Kundalini without it burning us up, so you have these three energies that are really powerful. And our job as spiritual seekers is to build a system that can consciously open to all of these three energies. And of course, that begins with building foundation inside, getting rooted inside, having that kind of inner strength that comes from the opening of the third chakra, the chakra below the navel. I repeat this every so often because I think going into the new year, and develop. I don't expect people to be perfect at this. I am not perfect at this, but it's certainly a goal to strive towards. Developing the third chakra, developing the chakra, building that kind of inner strength that allows a human being to be a point in a triangle that connects infinite energy with life. And I think going into a new year, this is really an important element to what I teach. And hopefully, I don't know what other people teach, but I hope people teach something like this. Because you can't just put marmalade on a piece of bread and expect the bread not to go stale. You understand? You really have to develop an inner life that's strong and conscious and capacity to absorb and to utilize these three elements of spiritual growth that need to take place in a human being to attain enlightenment. It's Shakti coming from the universe. It's karma that we need to work out. And it's, the pathway to enlightenment. All of this works together. You can't separate these things. They all work together. They're all a manifestation of God. And each and every one of them is there for a purpose, and that's to teach us what we need to do to grow inside. And we're coming to a new year, and I tell you, don't take this for granted. When you do your inner work, try to build that kind of inner life that enables you to embrace the unknown, to embrace the newness, the freshness of a new year, the freshness of every day. You understand? The freshness of every night, the freshness of every single cycle that manifests in the life of a human being. I was watching an Indian movie earlier today by a very great director named Satyajit Ray, wonderful director who worked in the 60s. He did great movies. And there was one line that just almost made me fall off my chair. This person said, only the human mind is involved with the past. Everything else in the universe, is in the present and moving into the future. Everything except the human mind, which, attaches itself to so many things that no longer have relevance. They're just dead things that we attach ourselves to. So that's building the strength inside to be able to get free of the mind and the attachments of the mind, the fear of the future, the guilt of the past, all that ping pong match that we play inside us that never allows us to live in the moment. We need the kind of strength I'm talking about to do this. And every class that goes on here, its purpose is to build that kind of inner strength. So when it's class after class over months and years, that kind of inner strength manifests in a human being. If they're serious about it, people come here and all right, I'll go and meditate, get a little quiet and go about my business. I'm talking about somebody who truly and deeply needs to attain a state of spiritual enlightenment. This is what Rudy taught. He taught it in different words, He didn't speak about it in the words that I'm using today, but it was basically what he taught, what he developed, what he gave to us, this incredible gift of this meditation, this double breathing exercise. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I'll ask you something that I heard Rudy say about when there's, let's say, a pain or a problem or something going on in the body, to focus, bringing the mind to the issue, right? The disrupted energy or whatever it feels like, to break it up. So he didn't specifically talk about bringing the mind to the heart. He was just talking about this focus on the pain or the issue itself directly. Can you just speak a little bit about that?
Well, look, what I would suggest is in doing that, you have to keep your attention focused in the hana. Because once the mind leaves there, as I've said a million times, the whole system of a human being goes off balance. But you can bring 10, 15, 20% of your attention to an area where there's pain. And that energy will help to alleviate the pain. You know, you can extract whatever it is, the causal thing that is creating the pain from the pain, and the pain could go away. I mean, this can be done, but I wouldn't suggest bringing your entire attention there because you will lose all balance inside yourself. So you can bring 10%, 15% of your attention to an area where there's pain. And, you know, it works. It really, you can draw the pain into the chakra system and it becomes Shakti, it becomes energy. And you extract, I mean, I've done this with people where I do healing work with people and they have all kinds of problems from cancer to other things. And part of the thing was extracting the pain or extracting whatever it is that's causing the problem. And it's like surgery and drawing it into the chakra system where it becomes Shakti and then it becomes Chi. Then it goes through the sexual area, you know, where it is transformed into, you know, energy. Kundalini is like fire and it burns all of that stuff. So yes, one can do this. It's a very important aspect of healing. But you've got to be grounded. You have to be centered because these are very powerful things to do. And if you're not grounded inside, you know, I mean, I used to have a lot of students that did this Reiki stuff, and I always used to worry about them. They would stand there with their hands on people, pulling out all the poison from them. You know, I mean, sometimes I'd look at these people after they'd finished working with somebody, they looked half dead. They weren't grounded inside. They didn't know how to get rid of the poison. When you're grounded inside, you can transform the poison, the negative energy, into something positive. If you're not grounded inside, it just spreads through your system. So you can do that. You have to be very conscious when you do that. Both if you're ever trying to heal somebody or if you're trying to heal yourself. The whole point would be to draw that negative energy into the chakra system, bring it down, you know, into the chakra, you know, and turn it into chi. Then bring it through the sex and burn it right up. I mean, when I first started doing healing, Rudy asked me to work with one of his one of these people who had a very serious case of cancer. And I'll never forget this. I had never done this before. I went and I put my hand on this person's forehead. And within 3 minutes, I was so swamped with negative energy that I literally passed out at her feet. And Rudy came running back in the back of his gallery, you know, and he started smacking me, punch. He, schmuck, what did you do? You're trying to absorb that energy? It'll kill you, you know? And he, you know, and he made me run around the block 3 times. But to me, it was a great learning process. You've got to really be grounded inside and you have to drop the tension, the negative energy. And then he told me, he said, you know, as stupid as you are, he said, it's like getting an injection for cholera. So they give you cholera, or they give you the disease. You got the disease and you'll be able to heal for the rest of your life. That's what he told me. You're immune. It's true. I mean, I don't know. I just never thought about it. I just do these things. I don't do them much anymore, but I used to do it a lot, really a lot with people. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you.
You're welcome, Wendy. It's a great question, Wendy. Great question.
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How would you get rid of the energy when you do healing? Like if you don't need to, I mean, you don't want to take it in, obviously, you want to get rid of it. How would you take it out from the patient and get rid of it?
Well, the best way is not to take it out from the patient. The best way is to channel it into the chakra system. Now, this takes a really refined healer to do this kind of thing. That's the best way. I used to work with people who had cancer, and I would put my hand and I would just draw that energy into the chakra system of the cancer. And it would flow through their body, and it would become what I described before, And that's the best way. Now, this requires really a highly developed, and very, very refined sensitivity to do this kind of thing. And if you pull the energy out, you have to be able to take as much of it as you can into the chakra below the navel, transform it into chi. What you can't transform, you got to drop. You got to let your arms go at your side and say, help me to surrender all negative psychic tension. You got to get rid of it. Otherwise, it'll spread through your system, and God knows the kind of problems it could cause in somebody who, wants to do healing. So there are two ways. The best way is what I described first. And that I had to work with maybe 50 people before I learned how to do that. And I finally realized I can do this. I said, holy shit, this is incredible. I would do healings with people, honestly, and I would have to go to bed. I'd have to just lie down. It was so powerful how much, that poison I would take into my system. I mean, if you read that book I wrote, Leah, you can't believe what it was like working with that young girl. I mean, I was crippled for a day. I couldn't do anything. I didn't talk about that in the book so much, but that's what happened. Until I learned I do talk about how to channel it in the system of somebody that's sick.
Sorry, you were talking about how to channel it into your system or their system?
Well, you channel it into, you can't just do this. I'm telling you, it took working on 50 people to learn how to do this. But the whole idea is you can channel the negative quantity of a tumor into the chakra system of a person. And it goes into the chakra below the navel, it becomes chi. Then you can put your hand at the base, your fingers at the base of the person's spine, draw it through the sex chakra, and the Kundalini, the fire at the base of the spine, will burn up the poison. This is, I'm telling you something that it took me years to learn, literally years of doing healing to learn.
Thank you.
You learn how to do that, you take it into yourself, you've got to drop it. You got to burn up what you can burn up, and you got to drop the rest of it, get rid of it. And after you do any work like that with a person, you got to run around the block 3 times just to, it's so strong that it could really poison a person, somebody trying to do the healing.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Stuart, I have a question in relationship to this as well. There's distal healing, and it seems like it would be easier to channel the energy into the hara if you were working distally. Would you agree with
Working
that?
out distally, I don't,
Yeah, working distally.
what do you mean distally?
Well, distally, if you work outside their aura, you could send healing to anyone, anywhere. So, but then when you're able to connect with their energy field, you can easily, like, I mean, I never thought about sending it to their hara, you know, but it seems like it'd be easier to take what you're experiencing and bring it to the hara from a distance, because you're not in their field. So,
Look, I don't know. I have no answer to that, Brenda. All I know is what I've had to do in my life, and you know, yeah, you can. I guess you can do that. I don't know. I do know what I've had to do in my life, and I do know how profoundly it worked, and I do know how profoundly I grew because of it, having to learn how to transform the most negative energies into something positive in myself. You know, and this other thing, I don't know. You know, look, yeah, you can. I mean, look, I'm doing it. You know,
you're doing it distally too.
energy through a freaking computer here. You know, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
but you know, healing somebody of cancer, that's another story. You know, that's really strong stuff. It's a lifetime of poison in somebody.
Mhm.
And it really takes a very strong chemistry to do that. And you know, I don't know how you can do that distally. I don't even know what that word is, you know. I don't know how you can do that. You know, but I guess I don't, you know, whatever works. That's my philosophy, whatever works. But I've learned in my life that it required being with the person, it required entering their energy field and transforming that energy field into chi, into a system that was able to transform what was killing them into life-giving energy. I mean, you know, that young girl in that book, Leah, you know, when the doctors finally did that operation on her, at first they said there's no hope, they can't do anything. And then she was getting so much better through the healing process. We do this. They came out dancing. I'll never forget being in that hut. They were dancing. They said, we've never seen anything like this. You know, it became some kind of special thing they were, you know, studying in oncology. But they never came to me and said, well, what the hell did you do? You understand? It was like a miracle to them, what took place. And it was really the work of exactly what I described, you know? This child had 3 weeks to live. That's what they told her. That you have 3 weeks. And I don't know how I could do that, you know, over the telephone, you know? I didn't see any way how I could do that by being a couple of miles away and just transmitting Shakti to somebody. I had to go and step into her energy field. And I had to work with it in as profound a way as I could possibly. And it was, you know, unbelievable, you know? I mean, it was one of the strongest periods I ever spent in my life doing that. And I must say, as hard as it was, I learned an awful lot. And as painful as the end result was, it was a great teacher for me.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question? That's why I'm trying to have in-person classes again, because it's really another level. You know, this is very strong what goes on here. I must admit, it blows me away how strong this is. and how deep and powerful this goes into people. But the in-person classes is a totally different dimension. And I got to wait till this COVID thing quiets down a bit, and then I'm going to start it again. People coming here from all over the place, you know. The only thing I ask, honestly, is, I mean, today I discovered 4 people I know got COVID. Now, whether they were vaccinated or not, I know my daughter got it again. She was vaccinated and she had really minor symptoms, nothing, you know? And it was because of all the vaccinations. So the only thing I ask, you know, I'm not vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer. People make their own choices about how they want to live their life. It's none of my business. But I'm just asking people if they want to come here to do these in-person classes, they have to have that vaccination. Whether you believe in it or not, it's not my business. You know, it really isn't. But if you want to come here, I have to ask that. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? You know, I said something this afternoon, I'd like to say again, just to finish up. I come here and I see all of you, and I see gratitude, I see twinkles in your eye, I see love inside all of you that are here. And it really is, to me, an extraordinary way to end the year. It is, just to come here and experience that with all of you. And I can't tell you what it does to fill my heart with gratitude that there can be this kind of a situation going on. And I look at every person's face and I see gratitude. I see love. I see something that is really missing in the world, you know? And I see it here, and it just really makes me want to work very deeply in myself to, you know, continue doing what I'm doing, and, you know, and opening to the new year, and to allow this new year to be something really extraordinary. So God bless you all. Thank you. And there'll be a class tomorrow evening, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. And bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Yes,
Good night, Stuart.
Good night.
Thank you,
Thank
Stuart.
you.
thank you.